So, I'm a fiend for Excel spreadsheets. Absolutely love them. And even bought an extra wide monitor for home so I can see them in all their glory. My boss keeps telling me that she's an advanced Excel user. She can run macros, she can do pivot tables, she knows formulas. Not once have I seen her create or manipulate a spreadsheet in the 6 months I've worked for her. So I had a template on our Teams chat that we used every week. It was automated to within an inch of its life to tell us about the company's health. We've been using it for the last 4 months after I was given approval by the boss to make it live, gave her a tutorial and everything. This was for the admins to all see it, and I'd only need to update the raw data once a week instead of send it manually to whoever wanted it on a given day, up to 4 times a day usually. Took out about 6 hours of work a week having it set up like that. Well, the boss told me to take it down because a different department who hadn't seen it was worried about personal data when one of the admins told them about it. There isn't anything like that in there, and anything that isn't open access is password hidden anyway. Our IT team has to be formally requested to add a new member to our Teams chat. The spreadsheet is password protected, the tabs are password protected, and the whole company is locked down hard anyway. So, boss orders me to take it down and delete it, run a fresh one for anyone who wants it. So, I explained there wasn't anything in it that was personal or private data, but got told, nope, delete it. Tried to explain, we use it amongst the admins every day, and it has all these built-in features and tables, etc. Nope, delete it. So I did. The fallout? Q today, boss says to me her big boss meeting is presenting figures to the executives tomorrow. She starts quoting figures that are wildly out from the true numbers. I questioned where they came from, and she shows me a Frankenstein report that is saying the exact opposite of what she thought. Run by someone, not even in our department. I tell her the accurate grand total and show her how I got there with a simple table and some screenshots I had of the original shared spreadsheet. She asks for access, and I tell her it's been deleted. I explained why and even showed the meeting notes where she had approved its use after viewing it. She denies any knowledge of it, but wants it back. I said it would take me 2 to 3 days to make it again due to my workload increases. I saved a copy of the template, but no way am I telling her that. This will give me breathing room to get the backlog out of my queue while she thinks I'm working on it. Let her sweat through that executive meeting knowing every figure is wrong. No one's saving her ass in this team anymore. About the middle of last year, I needed surgery. Had an inguinal hernia, which needed to be fixed. I tell my coworkers that I'll be sick for like 3 or 4 weeks. They're fine with that. I find the lead of the lab. He's fine with it too. Now, to quickly tell my boss or so, I said, hey, boss, just wanted to tell you something about some sick days. She interrupts me. Oh, you don't need to. Me. See, the thing is, she interrupts me again. Listen, I don't really care about sick days, got it? Now go away. Me. Okay, boss. This was the last day of work before the surgery. So after the surgery, still a bit dizzy in the head, I take my phone and call my boss. Me. Hey, boss, just want to let you know I won't come for the next 3 or 4 weeks. I just had a surgery. She interrupts. What? You need to tell me those things in advance. It's very important that I know these things. Blah, blah, blah. Me, with all the calmness I had? Well, boss, I tried to tell you that twice. After the second one, you said that you don't care. Silence. Me. Boss? She says, get well soon, then hangs up on me. I think in the future she'll listen. So this happened 20 plus years ago, and it still makes me laugh. I'm an Australian radiographer who was working in the UK NHS. There was this older radiographer, Susie, who told me she hated locum radiographers, and particularly hated Australians. Sadly, I was guilty of both. Susie generally tried to make my life hard, but regularly failed to succeed. All the staff liked me, and I thoroughly enjoyed the work and the people I worked with. Susie also did her best to avoid doing any activity at all. She was disliked by nearly all in radiology, including the supervisor. One Friday afternoon at a work meeting, the supervisor radiographer informed us all that a new pain clinic service would start Monday in the operating theaters, and a radiographer was required to go for 4 to 6 hours each Monday. Now, most radiographers I know are not overjoyed at doing theater work. You stand around in a lead gown for hours, pressing a button occasionally. Some love it, but I think it's okay sometimes. Susie quickly yells out, "I'm definitely not doing that. Make the Aussie go. He is getting paid enough." Everyone stopped and looked at me, and I just said, "Sure, no dramas." Come Monday, I attended theater at 9 a.m. and met the loveliest pain specialist and his nurse. They made the whole day great. Here's the thing, but I would do a case, and then the pain specialist would say he didn't need me for the next case, and to go to the tea room and wait. I actually spent most of the day in the operating theater tea room eating biscuits, drinking tea, and reading the newspapers. I would generally come down from the theater at about 2 p.m., where I would be met by the supervisor radiographer who would tell me to take my lunch hour plus my morning tea break. I would return at about 3:30 p.m., just in time for my afternoon tea break, then actually do some work from 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. Meanwhile, Susie has been assigned to the general x-ray department doing ward work, slogging away all day. This went on for months until I moved on. The last week I was there, the supervisor radiographer sent another radiographer to the theater for pain clinic, and it was discovered what my working life on Mondays had entailed. Susie was livid and demanded she should go to the pain clinic, but the supervisor reminded her she had refused previously. When I was a teenager, my extended family, my parents, sister, me, aunt, uncle, cousins, all in all 8 people, went on our annual multi-day cycling tour. But due to bad weather, we had to reschedule and ended up renting an apartment in Ticino, Switzerland, that had enough beds for all of us, but only one shower. It's not that easy to find accommodations for 8 people in high season, so this was the only option. So, one late afternoon, we came back from a long day cycling the steep mountains around Lake Maggiore. We did a couple of 100, maybe even 1,000 meters of elevation difference in a very humid climate that day. So you can imagine all of us were really sweaty and really hungry. I probably should add that this was long before e-bikes were a thing. We did those cycling vacations every year, going back to when we kids were in elementary school. Always those 2 families who were really close, and yes, we were and are crazy when it comes to cycling. To prevent fights, we always settled on an order for the shower as soon as we got back to the apartment. I was supposed to be third in line, but my aunt insisted I give her my shower slot because she needed to be finished sooner than me. As most days, the adults were cooking dinner and we all ate at the apartment. This made sense to me, as I figured she wanted to get a shower before starting to cook. As soon as she was in the shower, I found out we were supposed to go to a restaurant for dinner that day, so there wasn't any reason for my aunt to jump the queue other than she was last in line, and probably figured there wouldn't be any hot water left for her. I tried to get in the shower next, but my sister, cousins, etc., insisted that I lost my spot by letting my aunt jump the queue and had to wait until all of them were finished. Everyone was in a hurry, as we all were really hungry after all the cycling, and we wanted to leave for the restaurant as soon as we could. Cue malicious compliance. While I was waiting to finally get in the shower, I secretly snacked on a packet of nuts to soothe my hunger and patiently waited my time. When I finally got in the shower, I washed my long hair, used conditioner, rinsed again, made sure to put on lotion after showering, and finally blow-drying my hair. Like really thoroughly blow-drying my hair, even though it was hot outside and I really didn't need to blow-dry my hair. By that time, my family was banging on the bathroom door, trying to make me hurry up as everyone was really hungry. When I finally got out of the bathroom, my family gave me shit for taking so long and making them wait when they were starving. So I told them that my aunt had tricked me out of my slot in the shower line and that none of them were willing to let me shower earlier. What did they expect when they made the only person with long hair shower last? Well, they always made sure I was one of the first to shower after that, on every vacation. So, when I was about a 13-year-old little shit, I went to the supermarket to get myself something to drink. There was only one cash register opened, and a queue had formed. I was in the back with one person in front of me and one person in front of them, putting their stuff on the counter. Eventually, a second register was opened, and the girl said, "Next one in line, step over here, please." The person in front of my line was finished packing groceries and was about to pay. The guy in front of me had only a few items, and I only had a single can of energy drink. I stepped over to the next register, and this guy steps over behind me and starts instantly flipping his shit about how he was first, and I'm stealing his spot. This is an adult man against a 13-year-old. Being the naive 13-year-old I was I was 90% sure this adult wasn't going to beat up a child. So I told him to calm down, and if he just asks normally, I will let him ahead of me. He doesn't want to, so I refuse to let him go ahead of me and turn around to pay for my single can of energy drink. Cue more raving from Kevin. At this point, some big burly security dude steps over to check out what's happening, so Kevin starts raving at him instead. After he was done, I was asked what was happening, and I told the security guard that the man was indeed ahead of me in the previous line. And if he had just asked nicely, I would have let him go ahead of me. The security made the lunatic calm down, and as Kevin growled out the words, "May I go ahead of you?" in a dejected voice, my response was, "Of course, sir. Go right ahead." It was early 2018, and I was a sales rep for a corporate location of one of the big U.S. cellular companies, working in a very busy and very tiny old store. I'm also one of the top sales reps in our district. My job is to sell. I do well at my job by recommending things I'm genuinely enthusiastic about and transferring that enthusiasm to my customers. I did exactly what they wanted. I got to know my customers and found things that they would actually use and love, and they would be my loyal customers and buy my recommendations. We also were required to do as many demos as possible in a day. I was throwing my phone in its OtterBox, pumping up music on the Bluetooth, having a fun time with my customers while transferring their data. 3 times across 3 months, we'd have some seniors who literally needed to call customer service and really didn't need us to do it for them. Then get upset they couldn't hear over the tiny room full of reps and customers who are actually, buying shit, which is what the sales location is for. My boss kept pulling me aside, telling me things like, "I know you get enthusiastic, but your voice carries and it's a small place. You have to tone it down." By the 3rd time, I just felt defeated. I was depressed. I was walking on eggshells. I was quieter. For a week. I had 2 days in a row off. I came back in and the same boss pulls me aside again. "Heiser, remember how I told you to bring it down? I was wrong. It's terrible. You are the engine that brings this team together. It's like you're a ghost. The vibes of the whole place are trash now. We need you back. Forget I ever said anything, it was dumb. We need you." I danced my way back onto the sales floor. He started telling the complaining boomers to go home and call if they wanted quiet. We've got a job to do. Only time I've had a boss admit they fucked up. A Karen neighbor of mine complained that my roommate and I park in the same parking spot, which is right next to the walkway up to the apartment building. Both of us ride motorcycles, and both motorcycles belong to me, but my roommate rides one to get to work. She accused me of using my second bike to get a de facto reserved parking spot when nobody in the complex has one, and said that what I'm doing is not fair, and it's cheating. I said, "Okay, I'll stop parking both my bikes in one spot." She seemed satisfied with that, and left. An hour later, I had all 7 of my motorcycles, 5 of them from inside the garage I rent, but it's halfway across the apartment complex, sitting in front of the apartment building, taking up every prime parking space in front of the walkway to my hall in the building. She went straight to the management to complain. The management came out and knocked on my door. "We can't have you using up every parking space." "Let me guess," Karen complained. "Yes." "Yeah, she told me I'm not allowed to have 2 bikes in one parking space to reserve a space. I'm not doing it to reserve a space. Both my roommate and I ride both of the bikes we park in that one space. All the bikes belong to me, but I gave the keys to one of them to my roommate to ride for commuting to work. The other one is my bike for going wherever I need. We park both in one spot to be nice and conserve parking spaces, so other people have somewhere to park. I was just showing Karen what would happen if I'm only allowed 1 bike per parking space. The other 5 bikes are generally in another parking space, in my garage, where I keep the bikes I don't ride frequently." The apartment manager said, "I understand. You made your point, and I'll talk to her. Please put the other 5 bikes back in the garage." "No problem," I said. It's been a few weeks. Haven't heard from Karen. Edit. Since so many people are inventing details not in the story, assuming those details are true, and then getting upset over what they imagined, let me clarify something. This happened at 1 in the afternoon on a day both my roommate and I had off. Most people are away at work during this time. What's more, with the exact topography of the apartment complex, there are only 2 apartments per walkway, without going upstairs on my side of the building, but 4 on the other side because it's up a level and the building is built into a hill. What this means is that most people park on the other side of the building, leaving most of the parking spots in front of my building free and open except for very late at night. How the heck do you think I took up the 7 closest spots with all 7 bikes if the parking lot was full of people trying to park? Think about it for just a second before you assume details that aren't spoken just because you want something to be upset over. Both bikes are away from the apartment complex at the same time for a minimum of 4 hours a day. We didn't engineer the situation where my roommate gets home between 3 to 4 in the afternoon and thus gets first pick of the parking spots. We also could both be driving cars instead of riding bikes. Then there'd be 2 spots taken up instead of 1. I could just choose not to rent a garage and park all 7 out there, forcing people into overflow parking. But I don't. Also, the garage is beyond the overflow parking. It's not fair to expect me to always park in the garage and walk even further because you don't want to park next to my bikes and have all of 2 extra feet to walk to reach the concrete walkway to the building. That's all the stories we have today. If you genuinely like the stories, take a second to like the video. If you want more Reddit stories, be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and until next time.